Hey everyone, this is Michael with the general reading for April 2019 for Sagittarius Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I do hope this video finds you all well. I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping before we go into the actual reading. I just wanted to thank everyone for their likes and subscribes and their comments. It means so much to me that I'm able to share these messages, and it really, it warms my heart how much positivity and kind words have been poured out towards me. So thank you so much. I have been doing lots of personal readings. However, there have been some people who told me that my emails were actually going to their spam folder. And I did reply to everyone. So if you did not get a message from me, or if you sent me a request for a private reading and didn't hear back from me, it's actually, there's a very good chance it's in your spam folder. I just wanted to let everyone know. I'm saying this in all the videos, so sorry if this is repeat information. I am also sharing the astrological forecast for April as a blog post, which is linked in the description box down below, so you can check that out and read at your leisure. I personally like to have a good sense of what is happening when, and that's just a good way to reference after this reading. When was this happening again? Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for general announcements right now. Before we begin, I just want to disclaim that this is a general reading, so not all of the messages that come through are going to be for you. You're going to just have to use your discernment and intuition for what messages apply and which ones you should leave behind. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes these messages also come to you and are actually meant to be shared to another person. So regardless of what their zodiac sign is, so just keep that in mind as well. I did clear the decks and I meditated on your energy for a little bit. It did feel like there was a need to heal, and that was kind of coming up in the cards as well that popped out. We had the Ace of Cups in reverse and this Page of Swords. I feel like some of you may have been making some sort of offer or trying to get vulnerable with another person, possibly an air sign with this Page of Swords. So that could be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Or this could just be someone who is very cutting, very direct, not necessarily very graceful with the way that they express themselves. There might have even been some sort of confrontation as well. I am feeling like it was you who was kind of hurt by this more than the other person, to be totally honest. You may have been hurt by an air sign or just someone who said some really nasty words to you. And I do have the frog here as well, which is very much an animal spirit about healing, especially with using the water element, which kind of comes up with the Ace of Cups as well. So you may find taking baths to be really helpful, or being near water to be especially healing for you at this time. And again, when these cards fall out, I really don't think this is part of the general message. I think this is kind of a subset of you. So I don't think that this is going to apply to all of you, but these did fall out, so I wanted to share. There is also the potential that you actually said something that was pretty cutting, or you might have been unwittingly, or you didn't mean to hurt someone, but you might have accidentally hurt them with your words, and you might not have heard from them after that. They might be expecting an apology from you. So if someone's giving you the cold shoulder, that might be something to consider as well. You might not even know that you hurt them, especially with Mercury retrograde. There's a lot of weirdness there, which we are actually out of now. Mercury did go, it's in the post-shadow phase, and it's going to be doing that until April 7th. So do expect some catching up, some unexpected news perhaps. I feel like during the Mercury retrograde, especially being in Pisces, there was a lot of murkiness. People weren't necessarily on the same page, but they might have thought that they were, and it's not going to really become apparent until this week. So just be mindful of that for the first week of April especially. I do feel like there was a lot of spiritual insights and emotional breakthroughs that were happening, and a lot of things happening in the subconscious, which are probably going to manifest externally pretty soon. So if you've been doing healing work and doing inner work, that may very well pay off pretty soon. There could potentially be one last download for you, so to speak, if you've been having a lot of downloads. I think that's just been happening in the collective at large. That could happen right on the 7th. Mercury is going to conjunct Neptune one last time, and it's going to, there's definitely an opening of intuition there. Perhaps some very vivid dreams as well. That could be something that comes forward for some of you. So do pay attention to whatever impressions are coming to you on that day. I do also know that Jupiter is going retrograde in your sign. I feel like it's very cozy because it's in its home sign of Sagittarius. So you're definitely in a very expansive period right now, Sagittarius. A lot of you are anyways. Of course, this is going to be dependent on your specific natal chart, individually speaking. But in general, there is a lot of expansion happening within Sagittarius. And when it's going to go retrograde, I think it's going to be more you meditating and reflecting. What's next? What do I do next? What's the next move here? What's the next course of action? So that may be kind of, you may be looking through your scope for what to do next. And that's going to be happening until August. So that's quite some time. It's going to be happening for quite a while, but it is going to begin in April 11th, I believe. And there are Saturn and Pluto are also both going retrograde later in the month as well. Pluto is going retrograde on the 24th, and Saturn is going retrograde on the 30th. And whenever I see stuff with Saturn and Jupiter together, it always makes me think of karma, like karmic boons, karmic blessings, and then karmic lessons that are coming through. There's going to be a lot of resetting, a lot of shedding during this time, especially with Pluto there as well. There really is going to be a lot of emphasis on achieving status and reapproaching the way that you kind of show up in the world, really. And again, all of this is going to be kind of in the forecast in the blog post that I linked as well. But just, I think it's important to kind of share these general things in the readings as well. It kind of colors the reading, I think. So I'm pretty sure that's everything I wanted to talk about. We are in Aries season. It's going to be Taurus season on the 20th. So there's that. Mercury and Venus are going to be entering Aries on the 17th and 20th. So there might be some quick decisions that need to be made, which I feel like Sagittarius is pretty good with thinking on their toes. And there is also, I feel like there might be some new romance for a lot of people. There might be some passionate flings or reigniting passion in existing relationships. So look forward to that. It might not necessarily be the longest term being an Aries, but it's just love is in the air. It's spring. So I am curious to see what comes up in your actual reading. Sorry, one last thing. There was a Libra full moon on the 21st, or right when Aries season began, and there's going to be another one on the 19th of April as well. So there is really a lot of emphasis on relationships and the way that we show up in relationships and how we present ourselves to our partners or how we work within partnerships. And that could be business as well. It doesn't even necessarily need to be romantic. It could also be friendships. And there is kind of a looking at how you compromise yourself for your relationships as well. That's going to be coming up a lot for Aries season. So that's interesting to think about. Anyways, I'm going to start shuffling now. What is the past energy coming into April 2019 for Sagittarius? What is the past energy coming into April 2019 for Sagittarius? Told to shuffle 4 times, so that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. So some of you might be dealing with a Virgo. You do have the Hermit card in reverse. You have the 5 of Pentacles, and you have the 4 of Pentacles in reverse. So there's a lot of Earth energy that's coming up in the past. With this Hermit card in reverse, I do feel like this is more you coming out of hermit mode. You might have been a bit reclusive during March. There might have been, especially during the retrograde, you might have kind of isolated yourself a little bit. It was squaring, potentially. That Mercury retrograde was potentially squaring your sign as a Sagittarius, being in Pisces. So there might have been some uncomfortable isolation as well. You might have been trying to reach out to people, and it looks like you were feeling pretty left out in the cold with this 5 of Pentacles here. It seems like you just felt pretty dejected. You felt pretty isolated. It seems like you might have even been trying to turn to someone for help. That is kind of what you do with the Hermit. You seek out the Hermit's advice or the Hermit's counsel, and it almost feels like this person turned you away. It may not even be a person. It could also be a situation or an organization or something like that. Again, it could potentially be an actual Virgo, but I'm not getting the sense that that's for a lot of you. There is this 4 of Pentacles in reverse as well, which tells me that people were pretty guarded with their communication. There might have even been some holding back secrets or assets, potentially, when you were working with other people. It seems like there's a lot of isolation here. There's a lot of loneliness here. There's a lot of lack of connection or guardedness, being turned away. And that's interesting because that was kind of coming up in the pre-shuffle as well. There was that rejection. There was that lack of reciprocation in some sort of vulnerable communication. So it seems like that actually is coming up for a lot of you, I have to say. I am going to pull an animal card just to kind of clarify all of this energy. What is the animal wisdom for the past energy coming into April for Sagittarius? Yeah, this is making a lot of sense. There's not a lot of cards that are coming through right now, which tells me that, yeah, there is a lot of communication that's being held back. There is a lot of not coming forward, people holding things back, holding themselves back. These messages just aren't coming through. I do have 2 animal cards that actually popped out for you. You have the unicorn and you have the bee. So this bee card tells me that there may have been some stinging remarks that were made, which came up earlier. This is kind of confirmation that, yeah, there were some hurtful words that were said. Someone may be feeling a bit overworked. Someone may be feeling like there's not a sense of community within potentially the workforce. I mean, busy bee, working for the hive. There's this lack of communal mindset. It seems like everyone's just out for themselves. Everyone's holding back. Everyone's guarding themselves. And with this Hermit card in reverse as well, it seems like someone really might be, again, this is kind of Virgo energy, so someone might be feeling a bit overworked. There is also this unicorn as well, so something might not have been what it seems. This is the card of the third eye, or the Anya chakra, which tells me that, yeah, a lot of you, this was a very spiritual time. It wasn't necessarily an easy time. There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of uncertainty, especially with people not coming forward and being totally direct with how they feel, or kind of lashing out or being defensive or aggressive in some way. It seems like it was a time where you really had to trust your intuition and follow your intuition. I do also... I am curious to see what's going to be happening for you April 7th, because this is telling me that there was a lot of spiritual downloads that were happening for you, and it may not have been easy, kind of being in that squared sign Pisces, but I think it is actually very expansive for you. It'll be very helpful for you in the long run. And I think whenever there's kind of hard energy like this, I don't like to sugarcoat it, because I don't want to short sell you when you have an opportunity to heal. When there's things that are coming up that can really be helpful to you on your personal journey, I think it's, you know, all of this is a blessing in disguise. It's showing you who you can really trust, who you should be open with. You might have even been a bit too open yourself. You might have kind of let that Ace of Cups slip out too soon, and it backfired. So I feel like there was a lot of quiet and reflection that happened as a result of that, and a lot of retreating that needed to happen. Unicorn is a pretty isolated creature. It's very hermit-like itself. So you may have needed to take time for yourself towards the end of March, or sometime in March. And that's kind of playing into the energy now. Let's look at... Ooh, this came jumping out. Let's look at the start of April, the first half of April for Sagittarius. What is the energy? Interesting. So this all came up pretty quickly. It seems like things are going to be coming forward much faster in the first half of April. We do have this Queen of Wands in reverse, this Ten of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles. I was kind of saying, it does feel like someone is really preoccupied with their work. They're really caught up in their career, or something that they're very passionate about. It could potentially be a fire sign, an Aries, Leo, or another Sagittarius. This could also be you, who is just, you know, being a bit closed off to other people, maybe even confrontational as well. There could be some conflict happening at the start of April for you. But you do have this Ten of Pentacles here, which is a nice family card. It's definitely a nice boon financially. There could be even some windfall happening there. And you do have the Six of Pentacles in reverse as well. So again, there's a lot of earth energy, a lot of pentacles that's coming up in your read. Some of you may very well be dealing with an earth sign. With this Ten of Pentacles, I do feel like there might be a reconnection with the family, or something like that, perhaps even soul family. Just people who feel very close to you, and just feeling very abundant. It does seem like there's a nice boon coming your way at the start of April. If you have been working hard, it does feel like it is going to be paying off, even though it was a bit of a rocky road. Your efforts do seem like they are going to be rewarded. But, you know, with the Six of Pentacles, someone again might be... There's not an equal give and take here. Something is still out of balance with this scale. And someone may be holding back. They may still be trying to... This could be you kind of holding back on your finances as well, because you did have this Four of Pentacles too. This could also, you know, because this is a general reading, this could potentially be in the reverse as well. You may be feeling a little bit spendy, and you may have been a little bit spendy in the past. Instead of holding on to your money, you've actually let it go. So it's just not managing your finances well, is how I would frame it for this general reading. It seems like with all of this boon, with all of this abundance that's coming your way, you may risk not managing it very well. You may be holding on to it too much, or you may just be very spendy and regret it later. So that's something to kind of be mindful of. Especially if there is a fire sign, someone who's a bit or someone who's a bit self-centered or self-focused, they might be taking advantage of your generous nature at the start of April if you're feeling generous. So just be mindful of that, especially if that person's a family member with that Ten of Pentacles. I'm curious to see what the animal wisdom is going to be for this energy. What is the animal wisdom for the start of April for Sagittarius? I feel like you've just been hard at work. Like you've been really focused on your work. And almost using that to escape some emotional pain or some emotional wounding that happened or some painful conversation that you had. Sagittarius is kind of the workhorse, so that doesn't surprise me. Oops. Yeah, there is someone who's holding on to something here. Okay, 2 animal cards again. Interesting. Interesting. You have the golden egg, which is another spirit card, like the unicorn card. There's only 7 of these in the deck. And you have the fire ants as well. So again, fire ants. This is so much about needing to work together. It's like kind of a theme with the insect kingdom in general. You kind of have this with the bee. It seems like there's some tension that's building, especially if you're in a place of management. If you're kind of at the center of the attention here, you feel a lot of pressure on you at the start of April. There's a lot of people coming to you. Some people might be trying to get money from you, perhaps, as well. Maybe that's why you're feeling so guarded with your money, and they're all trying to exploit that. So that is something you may need to guard yourself from. For this card, it's very important to cool off, so to speak. So walks alone by yourself, especially at night, can be especially healing for this energy, for this tension or conflict that's coming up. When this card is in balance, it does suggest that there is a lot of working together, a lot of communal mentality, but I'm really not getting that sense with you, Sagittarius, to be completely honest. It doesn't feel like people are working together. It's almost this attitude of everyone's out for themselves, but at the heart of this reading, you're trying to feel very familial, very communal. You do want this, but it almost seems like the people around you are trying to take advantage of it, which is kind of sad. You do have the heart chakra here, this golden egg. This is a very interesting card to be coming up because, again, this kind of speaks of humanitarian nature. When I think of the heart chakra, I don't necessarily think of romantic love, although it could possibly include that for some of you. There may be some sort of rekindling or new love that's coming in for you at the start of April. I feel this is more the love, like a philanthropic love, the interconnection that weaves between all of us. It's very much because Anahata translates as the unstruck sound. I think of this card as being part of a symphony. We're each playing a different role, a different part, and we each play a very vital, it's a vital role that we play in the symphony. And I think right now you really need to connect to your own heart, is what's coming up. You need to connect to your own heart, and people who actually connect you to your heart. Maybe that's why this Ten of Pentacles is here. Maybe it's someone in your family or someone who feels like family to you. Maybe you need to reach out to someone who you haven't spoken to in a while. This is kind of an intergenerational card, so this could be someone who's much older or much younger than you. It seems like this person, whoever that is, whoever is in part of this Ten of Pentacles for you, will be very healing to your heart at this time, especially if you felt taken advantage of, or if you just feel like you're just working so hard and you're just not getting any reprieve. You may need to be seeking out this connection. Interesting. I feel like spending time with kids for some reason. For some of you, I don't know why that came to mind, but it feels like that will be helpful with this Ten of Pentacles here. Yeah, some of you need to spend time with your kids, or with your nieces or nephews, or some small children in your life. I feel like they actually need your connection right now, and you would actually benefit by connecting to them. Interesting. This is kind of, it's weird. This kind of feels heavy. I gotta say, this is a bit of a heavy read, which isn't super surprising because of all of this stuff happening in Mercury, or I'm sorry, in Pisces. You are feeling it. And I think there is kind of some delusions. There is something isn't quite what it seems. I'm going to be looking at the second half of April now, kind of feeling out the energy, closing out the month, or potentially bleeding out into May. What is the energy for the second half of April for Sagittarius? Again, not a lot of energy coming forward. It still seems like there's a lot of holding back that's happening. 3 more. Okay. And 1 more. Interesting. So we have the Two of Swords, the Two of Pentacles, and the Star. What was I telling you? People are totally holding back in your situation. This could potentially be you. It actually feels like family or potentially coworkers or people that you work for. The people who are very much a part of your daily life. There's definitely this guarding their heart. They might be trying to... There is potentially some sort of challenge or deception that's coming up for some of you. Someone who's very much matching your energy as well. You know, if you're coming across as guarded, it's putting everyone else on guard too, which is why the Fire Ants card is, I think, trying to tell you to take some time for yourself to cool off. Whatever energy you bring into a situation is going to be reflected back at you, and vice versa. So just be mindful. Maybe this is why you're being a bit guarded towards the end of April. You might be holding off on making a big decision, especially if it involves moving or changing jobs. I kind of feel like you know the answer, because there is the Star here in the mental part of this read. It seems like your intuition is actually really, really high right now, Sagittarius. And you were getting this with the Unicorn card as well. It may be a bit confusing because it seems like the situation is different than it actually is. So you might be doubting your intuition, but this is telling me that your intuition is actually more accurate than you're giving yourself credit for, especially towards the end of the month. It may become clearer. There is also the potential that there is some wish fulfillment that is coming your way. You might be communicating with an Aquarius as well. It just seems like you're really thinking long term, which again I was kind of talking about with Jupiter going retrograde in your sign on the 11th. I think towards the second half of the month, you're really going to be looking long term and working on manifesting and working towards longer term goals. I do also see with this Two of Pentacles, there is this juggling between give and take. There is a need to find balance. Emotionally, you might not feel totally sure about a situation. You might be going back and forth. You might be feeling a bit thrown by your emotions with these waves back here. Things might feel a little rocky. But despite this, it seems like your intuition is still pretty on and pretty solid. It's like your heart is destabilized, but your gut is telling you where to go. And this is all of this is telling me that this is trying to lead you towards a brighter and better future. So whatever hardship you're coming across this month, I think it's really revealing to you in the long term who it is that you can actually trust and who it is that is actually worth your time. Very, very interesting. That's so strange. And there's just so much earth energy. I feel like there's a lot of practical things that need to be taken care of this month. And it's kind of affecting you in your relationships. There's this strain that's happening in your relationships, for sure. Someone's overworked. Someone is too focused on work. And it's affecting everyone around them. That could potentially be you, another fire sign, or a Virgo. But again, this is a general read, so take what resonates with that as well. So what's the animal wisdom here? What is the animal wisdom for the future energy for Sagittarius. Too many. Now they all want to have a turn. Let's see. So this one fell out by itself. Frog. So again, this is kind of reaffirming to me with this Fire Ants card especially. There is a need to cool off. There is a need to heal. The water element could be very, very healing to you. So taking baths, this came up like in your pre-shuffle. I was like, I already told you this, didn't I? So this is telling me that this is still going to be important to you by the end of the month. Some of you may also be traveling towards water. That's kind of something that comes up with the star as well. Energy work actually might be needed for you as well. So acupuncture, Reiki, Qigong, anything alternative or holistic might be especially healing, given all that you're going through. I do also see, with Frog, I also think of a need to return to home, a need to find that comfortable, cozy place. And that's kind of at the heart of the read right now. You do have this Ten of Pentacles that's at the heart of your read. And I feel like you are looking for your family. You are looking for the people that you can really trust and grow together with. You don't want to feel alone anymore. You were so isolated in March and you felt so lonely. It's like, I think you're really looking for this. And I actually think you're finding it. You are going to find it. It might take time. It might not be in April, but I feel like you are heading in the right direction towards this family, towards this really solid stability, which is weird because that's not usually something that Sagittarius is looking for. But I do think with Jupiter going retrograde in your sign, it is making you think more long term. So maybe that's why all of these Pentacles are coming up. Very interesting. And I do see that there is some transformation that's happening as well with Frog. There is some transmutation of old energies too. So that is something to kind of be mindful of, especially with the star. Some of you may also be thinking a lot about, I have to say, potentially for some of you, there is this connection coming in with a soulmate or a twin flame or some sort of divine relationship or divine counterpart, because we do have the star here, we do have the heart chakra here, we do have the third eye here. It's almost like you're doubting some sort of connection, you're doubting if this is your person. You might have even walked away from this person, especially if they were a Virgo, or there might have just been a cutting out of contact, feeling left out in the cold. It seems like you still need to stabilize yourself first, to be totally honest. You're still focusing very much on finding your own stability, but it does seem like things are on the mend, especially towards the end of April. So just keep healing. It seems like you are headed into a better direction. You're not, I don't feel like this loneliness is going to last forever. You are going to find your people. And those are all the messages I'm getting right now. Yeah, I'm not feeling like this is going to happen necessarily at the end of April, especially with this Two of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. I still think there's a lot of adjustment that you're going through, and there might still be some more confrontation, I hate to say. But again, just look at this as an opportunity to heal, to grow, and I think it will really help you on your journey, especially with Frog. So I hope that this was helpful. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Feel free to check out the other videos as well to kind of get a clearer picture, or if this one just didn't really resonate with you, maybe one of the other videos will. So again, check your Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. You can also book a private reading with me. I have that information in the description below. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye, Sagittarius.